My parents disowned me and left me for dead. I was sleeping in my car with my sick daughter. Then a billionaire I saved years ago died, leaving me his secret file I would use to get my revenge and put my parents in Paris. Hey, everyone. Today, I'm going to share a story with you that I never thought I'd be strong enough to tell. It's a story about betrayal, despair, and an unexpected turn of events that led to a justice I still sometimes can't believe. It's about how my own parents, the people who brought me into this world, disowned me, left me for dead, and how a secret file from a man I barely knew put them exactly where they belong. In prison. There I was, barely surviving, curled up in the back seat of my rusty old sedan. The windows were fogged, and the chill of the night seeped through the thin blankets we had. Next to me, wrapped tight, was my little girl, Sarah. She was only 5 and she was sick. A cough that racked her tiny body, a fever that wouldn't break, and I felt utterly, completely helpless. We'd been living in that car for weeks, surviving on whatever scraps I could earn from odd jobs during the day, every penny going towards medicine and lukewarm soup. My parents, the people who had once promised me a lifetime of love and support, had kicked me out, not just out of their house, but out of their lives. They accused me of something I didn't do, a terrible lie spun by someone they trusted more than their own child. They looked me in the eye, told me I was a disgrace, and slammed the door, leaving me, pregnant at the time, with nowhere to go. They literally left me for dead, and then, years later, when I reached out, desperate with a sick child, they hung up the phone. The desperation was a cold, constant companion. I'd look at Sarah's pale face, hear her struggling breath, and the rage would simmer inside me. How could they? How could my own flesh and blood do this? Every night, I'd stare up at the moon through the grime of my car window, praying for a miracle, for a way out of this nightmare. Then one Tuesday morning, everything changed. I was at the public library, trying to warm up and charge my phone, when I got a call from an unfamiliar number. It was a lawyer, his voice crisp and professional. He asked if I was your name. When I confirmed, he said, "I have some urgent news regarding Mr. Arthur Sterling." My heart sank. Arthur Sterling. I hadn't thought about him in years. He was an eccentric billionaire, a recluse, whom I'd met almost a decade ago. I was just a young woman then, working a part-time job to pay for college, and I happened to be at the right place at the right time. He'd had a medical emergency, a severe allergic reaction, and I, without thinking, had administered an EpiPen I carried for my own allergies, probably saving his life. He'd offered me a reward, but I refused, just glad he was okay. We exchanged numbers, and he'd occasionally send a thoughtful email, just checking in. I never asked for anything. The lawyer told me Mr. Sterling had passed away. He explained that Mr. Sterling had remembered my kindness, my refusal of reward, and my integrity. And because of that, he had left me something. Not money, though there was a substantial trust fund for Sarah's future and my own, but something far more valuable. He had left me a sealed envelope, labeled "For your name only." The lawyer was clear. "Mr. Sterling insisted you open this alone. He said it would give you the answers you needed." I rushed to the lawyer's office, my hands trembling. When I opened the thick, aged envelope, what I found inside wasn't just papers. It was a dossier. A comprehensive, meticulously compiled file detailing my parents' darkest secrets. Arthur Sterling, being the powerful and resourceful man he was, had apparently kept tabs on me, and in doing so, had uncovered the truth behind their accusations against me. Not only had they framed me years ago for a significant financial fraud within their company, but the file also contained irrefutable evidence of their ongoing illegal activities, money laundering, tax evasion, and even a scheme to defraud vulnerable elderly investors. The lie they told about me was just a small piece of a much larger, uglier puzzle. The documents were dated, signed affidavits, bank statements, recorded conversations, everything. It was all there. Proof that they were not just financially corrupt, but heartless manipulators. He had been compiling this for years, knowing that one day I might need it. My first emotion wasn't triumph or joy. It was a cold, settling calm. Sarah was still sick, shivering in the back of my mind, but now I had a path, a way to fight back, not with anger, but with truth. I spent the next few days poring over the documents, understanding every single detail. Then, I walked into the district attorney's office, not as a helpless, homeless woman, but as someone holding undeniable truth. I laid out the file, explained everything, from my parents' initial betrayal to my current situation. The DA's team was skeptical at first, but as they delved into the evidence, their expressions changed. The investigation was swift. With Sterling's meticulously gathered proof, it was an open and shut case. A few weeks later, I watched from a distance as my parents were taken away in handcuffs. The charges were severe: fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. Their empire crumbled. The people who had cast me out, who let their own grandchild suffer in a car, were now facing decades behind bars. Sarah is doing much better now. The trust fund allowed me to get her the best medical care, a warm home, and a future I thought we'd never have. There's a part of me that wishes things could have been different, that my parents could have been the loving people I once believed them to be. But the betrayal was too deep, the cruelty too profound. This wasn't about revenge in the petty sense. It was about justice. It was about protecting my daughter and ensuring that no one else would fall victim to their deceit. Arthur Sterling, even in death, gave me the tools to reclaim my life, to heal, and to finally find peace. And for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt like you're at your lowest, remember that sometimes hope comes from the most unexpected places. Don't give up.